peacefully walked over toward him with total respect and courtesy.
So you walked towards the god, approaching the deity with the proper deference. The bush was in front of him. What happened?
Well, I do believe, I mean, I hear you, but I also think at those high-tension moments, again, from studying protests in history, it's really important to be super calm and peaceful, because that doesn't escalate, and it doesn't give provocateurs a chance to make things violent.
No, I agree with you. So you approach him nicely.
So I approached him, and I identified myself, and I said, "Officer, I'm confused. I checked the permit, and the law says we do have a right to protest here so long as we're not obstructing."
You dared talk? You dared talk to a supreme being, a rulership? Oh, that's like in Ghostbusters when they're up on the top of the building and Zool is there and they say, you know, we're telling you to get out of New York City, and she says, "Are you a god?" And then when they say no, I mean, you're talking to your ruler. You're a scum who's just there to pay taxes. You're there to provide as a slave. So you talk to your owner, your ruler, your god, certainly not your servant. What happened?
Well, yeah, I mean, this stuff is very deep because, you know, I was raised to respect this country and this country's foundations, and you don't give up on democracy. You just don't. So I approached him and said, "I'm confused. I checked the permit. We are allowed, as I understand it, to not obstruct traffic. And as you see, there's no obstruction." I mean, literally, there was like 12 feet on either side of us. You know, we were in single file. He said, "Will you back down? Will you get out of my way?" And I truly, Alex, at that moment, I think about that moment a lot, I could not move. And I couldn't move. It's not that I made a conscious choice. I didn't want to get arrested. You know, I had somewhere important I needed to be, and I have 2 kids. I didn't want to get arrested. I checked law, carrying the law. At that moment, that if I backed away from him and followed his order, it was not. I knew that he was not right. That what he was saying about the law was not right, and I felt like if I did that, I would be just capitulating to.
No, I understand. You would fully submit to slavery at that point. If in America, it's always those white shirted, they're the commissars, they're the political police. In every video I've seen of them beating people who are innocent or attacking crowds, it's always the white shirts. They're the modern brown shirts. So you tried to explain this is.
I couldn't move. I couldn't move, and I hesitated that half second, and then he made a gesture, and we were surrounded. My boyfriend and I were surrounded by these guys, and my hands were pulled behind my back, and my hands were cuffed. Avram, my partners were as well. And we were sort of moved bodily into the back of a police van. And there were National Lawyers Guild observers there, and so I shouted, "Please have a lawyer meet us at the precinct." And then they bundled us into the van. We were alone in the van. And then something really scary happened, which is all the protesters marched to the first precinct, the near precinct, to be there and to see what, that we were okay. And
Naomi, speak up for me. This is important.
I'm sorry. The protesters marched to the correct precinct for Hudson Street, where we were, to make sure that we were okay, to witness what was happening, and for the lawyers to meet us, to make sure that, we had representation. But when we were in the van, the police got a call clearly directing them to go to another precinct. And so they misinformed the protesters about where we were, which I think is very scary.
So now there's secret police black bagging you. Well, that's because when I was arrested once, people actually marched and protested around the precinct. That's in the film Truth Rising. And so clearly now they're trying to misdirect for wherever they're sneaking you off to.
Which it cannot be legal. But anyway, they took us to the 7th precinct across town. And they were very courteous to us because by then I think it was clear that they were getting a lot of scrutiny about this arrest. But they took our possessions and they put us in separate cells and they locked us in. And my cell had blood or feces smeared on the wall. And,
so did mine in New York. I think that's... They actually picked a cell because most of the cells were open, and they laughed and said, "This is a good one for you." And I was looking in the open cells as I walked, and there was feces everywhere, urine, McDonald's bags, and they laughed. And then a mentally handicapped jail guard came over and giggled at me off and on for a few hours, and I just felt sorry for them. I mean, it's like something out of a science fiction nightmare. They have literal Igors working in there. So you're in a special cell with blood and feces and things. What happens next?
Yeah, well, I have to say that the staff there were extremely nice to us. Which, you know, I think obviously the fact that I'm visible, you know, made them be particularly nice. But I have no, you know.
So how did this end? How did this end in the minute we've got left?
Yeah, very briefly. Scarily, they released us with a summons because obviously, you know, it was a hot potato by then. But the sergeant who released me before he let me out of my cell pointed to a camera facing the cell and said, "If you go back to your friends, the protesters, you know, this time you're not getting arrested or you were taken to custody. Next time it will be a real arrest. We'll take your picture with that camera. We'll take your fingerprints with that machine. We'll send your data to a federal database. It will be there forever." And I said, "Well, officer, if I was obeying the law tonight and I got arrested," and he didn't dispute that I had obeyed the law, I said, "How do I keep from getting arrested in the future?" And he couldn't answer that. And I said, "Why did I get arrested if I obeyed the law?" And he said that at any time, if a police officer says it's a safety issue or deems it a safety issue, they can arrest someone no matter what the law says. And he referred me to a section of the criminal code.
Yeah, no. And that's a secret police arrest code. It's totally un-American. It's still official oppression. That code is a fraud. Naomi Wolf, thank you so much for spending time with us, and you're just shedding more light on the incredible police state we're facing. All right, we're going to come back with some huge breaking news. Big breaking news on the Iran war front. Straight ahead on the other side of this break. Then domestic checkpoints, illegal aliens above the law, and more. Stay with us. If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the InfoWars store at InfoWars.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe InfoWars T-shirts. We've got the incredible Pro Pure gravity-fed filters available at InfoWars.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there. Wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at Infowars.com today. The water filters, the canteens. It's all there. Infowars.com.